everybody, a warm welcome to Wisdom from North. I'm Jannecke, and today I'm thrilled to be here with Victor Oddo. Victor is a spiritual teacher, and he helps and guides people through the ascension process and through the awakening process. And on his YouTube channel, he gives out daily videos to his over 130,000 subscribers. Hello, Victor. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing very well. Thank you. It's wonderful and an honor to be here.
Thank you for saying that. I've been following you for a while, and I just thought about when I did research that you are one of the younger people that I've been interviewing, because like 70–80% is older than me of the spiritual teachers, and I'm getting older as well.
Yes.
And I'm happy about that, finding more younger speakers that can reach a younger audience, because it seems like younger and younger people are waking up as well. Is that your notion as well?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the truth is I'm actually 85 years old. I just do certain things that keep me looking. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, I agree. I think like the youngest of children are the most predisposed to being awake. So there's like more these younger generations, I think, are what are going to kind of come up and like swoop the world with the newfound expressions of their connection. And so, yeah, I could see a place for younger speakers as well, for sure.
Yeah, and today I would like to speak about the awakening process, the ascension process, and really delve into different parts of that. And it's a huge topic. That's why you make videos every day, right? There's so much to speak about.
Yes, yeah.
And I find that many are defining the awakening process differently. Like some are using it very wildly, while others are using it only like to describe certain teachers, or like Buddha, you know, he was awakened, or like I interviewed Muji and I would look upon him as an awakened person. And I was thinking, when I did research on you, I was thinking like, or asking myself the question, am I awakened? And I came to the conclusion that I've never looked at myself as an awakened person, and I don't feel like I am. I have a lot of knowledge of concepts, and I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, and I've totally changed. Like I've empowered myself, I've transformed, I'm a completely different person, but I don't feel awakened. I feel like I still have this drama that's going on inside of me. So I'm very curious about hearing your definition of awakening.
Yeah, I would label myself the way I would you. I would look at someone like Muji, who I'm a huge fan of, as someone who like abides in the awakened state pretty much 24/7, where I'm like on the path, you're on the path, and I still have the drama, the ego, and the releasing and the challenges. But I would look at people like me and you who share, people who are just like, we have a decent amount of experience with the awakening journey, and we just kind of share and help other peoples who can just benefit from our wisdom and experiences. But yeah, I would look at, it's a kind of a complex word, awakening. I would look at someone like Muji or Eckhart Tolle as people who are truly awake. They're always in that sort of non-dualistic state of awareness. And I see a lot of the people who, my audience, myself included, are people who are on the journey to that state of being.
Right, that makes sense. And awakened, would you say it's an end result? Like, is it a goal in a way? Is it a way we're moving towards, that we're becoming something?
I feel like awakening is like a never-ending journey. Even like a lot of the enlightened masters, like I read a lot of Adyashanti and people like that, and they'll say once you are enlightened, there are like degrees and depths of that. It's just like this never-ending, forward movement towards more of a self-discovery of the true nature of us. So I feel like a lot of people are getting on and becoming aware of the fact they're on this awakening path. But for me, I would imagine there are like milestones, for example. But I would just having an intuitive sense of just the nature of spirit. It feels like there'll be no end point where we find ourselves bored and looking for something to do. I feel like it's like this never-ending expansion into more of who we really are.
Yes, that's what I've come to too, that we can always open up more. There's like never a stop. It's never an end goal. It's like just getting, or like you said in one of your videos, more and more awareness. Like awakening promises more and more awareness. But to me, I found it interesting because it seems like some people all of a sudden have grace, like they wake up very quickly, and almost by mistake in a way, like they didn't do anything to do it, while others are practicing and practicing and practicing and getting there. Have you come across that too?
Yeah, people like Eckhart Tolle is a perfect example. He just had one challenging evening, and he went from like a state of despair and depression to he woke up the next day and he was like enlightened, and he went and sat on a park bench for 3 years. He didn't know what to do with himself. I feel like those guys are lucky. A lot of us have to like
Yeah.
kind of work for it. But I don't know why that is. I would
Yeah.
maybe just assume it just probably has to do with like the path of that particular soul. That's his purpose, to come and have that happen. And there might be more that sort of influences that beyond what we perceive. We look at ourselves as these like this is our one lifetime, but the soul's journey is much more expansive than that. And I would just assume that that probably plays a role too. It's just like all of that kind of comes together,
Yeah,
and
because
some people it culminates like that, and other people it's not relevant. Like for me and you, maybe if we woke up like that, we wouldn't have the same kind of impact on the world. I wouldn't have the same type of content in my videos. It'd probably be a lot more stereotypically like what you would expect for an awakened teacher. So I feel like there's a lot of reasons why that might be, but I don't pretend to know exactly why.
And
Yeah.
to me, I feel like I have to practice a lot in order to feel connected, or in order to have some spiritual experiences. I need to really put my focus on it. It doesn't come easy in a way. And I've just accepted that. And maybe that can change also, because everything is changing all the time. So I don't want to put my mind on that's the way you are, Jannecke, but everything is changing all of a sudden. Things can be smoother, But I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, so I know that you've had like a sudden awakening or some sudden experiences that were very abrupt in a way and
Yes.
huge. Would you like to share what happened to you?
Sure, I had a couple of them. One of them is where I experienced a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Are you familiar with that term, Kundalini?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I would love for you
Okay.
to explain for those who are not.
Yeah, so there's many different beliefs around what it is. To me, what happened, I can best describe as a Kundalini awakening. It was a sudden surge of energy pulsing through my body that was very obvious and discernible and almost earth-shattering. And it just kind of happened spontaneously, where I was meditating in front of a computer screen, trying to open my third eye. That was at the time, and I was like pushing really hard. And I started to feel this like what felt like a softball-sized like ball of energy kind of making its way up my spine. And I was just kind of going with it. I was in the meditation, and all of a sudden it was like it got up to my forehead and then just exploded. And I saw this blinding white light, and then I kind of went into like the ego death experience. And yeah, whatever. That's one time you can say, okay, whatever, dude. But that started to happen to me over and over again just throughout the coming months and weeks, where that same energy would return. And it was so powerful where I'd have to oftentimes like lay down and allow it to just go through me. And then when that started happening, I started to look up online. What the heck is all this? And Kundalini Awakening was the closest thing that I felt was what I was experiencing.
But was
That's
it
like my main one, yeah.
what was it? Would you phrase it as a positive experience, like it was bliss and a lovely? I don't know. You got a lot of knowledge. You got a download or anything like that, or was it just an energy?
Well, I think the energy itself is somewhat like benign, and the way we label it can influence the experience. In the beginning, I freaked out. I had my wife rush me to the hospital. I never actually went in because I thought I was dying. I thought something's
Wow.
happening. But then I started to kind of yield to it and let go. And then when the energy would come up, yeah, it was very ecstatic, like a spiritual ecstasy. It was a very blissful sort of thing, where after the energy would course through me, I'd feel very clear and like, yeah, just cleaned out and really good.
So would you say there are different stages of the awakening process that are kind of similar? That there are some similar stages that people go through?
I would say it's, as you probably can see, it's a very dynamic individual process. But just in talking with so many people, I've noticed themes and patterns. Whether they're actual like benchmarks and stages one must in a linear way progress through, I would doubt that. I feel like it's very individual. But there does seem to be yeah, similar experiences that I see across the board from people I communicate with that people go through. So in that sort of context, you could perhaps label them in stages to an extent.
Yeah. Um, I've noticed that some people have been talking to me about that they have a lot of anxiety. Like they're reading many self-help books, they're open to spirituality, they believe in it, but still they're caught in the drama. So they kind of feel like they're not moving forward because they have this really tangible fear, you know, like I am afraid of losing my husband or being left alone in the world, or that my children are going to die. I'm scared every day of something. Even though I believe in this, even though I know we go on, or I believe that, I'm just so scared. And I've been thinking about that, how fear just crushes so much. And it doesn't help for me to say, don't be afraid. It's like, don't drink
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, you know? Do you have any tips on that? Like actually handling fear that is very real, because it is dangerous to live. Like you can die, right? We're all going to die, but there are so many contrasts in this world, and in the spiritual community, or whatever you want to call it, we talk about joy a lot, and joy is like an emotion that is very high vibrating, but it's not easy to just jump up to joy when you read in the newspaper. And then, you know, many talk about, well, quit, you know, reading the newspaper. But still, you have to be updated, or at least I feel like to be in society, I want to know what's going on, like a little bit. I want to know
Mm-hmm.
but it's a balance there. But still, the fear seems to be such a strong influencer in our lives, and it's difficult to let it go when there is just risks every day of what can happen.
Yeah, yeah. It's difficult to give tips on this experience, but what I can say from my own is that time and experience will reveal to the seeker that they always have what they need. Everything, all the fear, all the drama is something they're attracting to themselves to help wake them up. And yeah, it's inconvenient to deal with, but in the end, it'll always work out. And I can't give that to them, but their own experience will validate that for them. Um, but it can also help. Secondly, more of a practical tip is to be easy on yourself, not you, but the people. Like, let yourself be a basket case. Let yourself go through ups and downs. Don't try to hold yourself to this ridiculous standard. Except you are going through an awakening. It is demanding. It doesn't seem to care about your life obligations. Maybe you have to go to work that day. You're having a Kundalini spasm or whatever the night before. So don't be down on yourself when you're like a mess. Your hair's not done. You get there, you're emotional, you got anxiety. Like, let yourself go through it. Like, be okay with it. I still have a lot of those symptoms, but I'm like gentle on myself. I'm forgiving of myself, and that helps the whole experience be a lot more tolerable. It takes the edge off, and it's just much more smooth when I accept.
Right, yeah, I hear that again and again. And it does seem like when you start this path, a lot of things come up. It's like what I
Mm,
hear again and again is that you have to, you know, let go and cleanse, and then everything comes up. And I guess that's why it is such a tough process, because you are looking at things that you put under the carpet before. I don't, yeah, I don't know if you've
yeah,
heard of a
exactly.
smooth awakening before.
No, is that a term? I haven't heard of anyone having
Right.
one, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it seems like there has to be challenges like that. And I was thinking about like unawakened people. So why do you want to be awakened? You know, it's a weird question, but you're actually going through a lot of hard stuff.
Yeah.
What are the benefits?
Well, I would say the hard stuff are the benefits. That's like their experience of issues and dramas and energies that are suppressing their natural state of being, which is that of joy and passion and just adventure. And all the drama is all of that coming up and going. So yeah, that's no fun. But the result is just greater depths of peace and serenity and happiness. And then when you start to embody a higher vibrational state, essentially, your life will start to reflect that. So like the person and their life is on this fast track to getting better in all ways. Now they're going quickly. It's a bit unexpected. So there's, again, the bumps and bruises, the transient symptoms. But so the result, the ever increasing results are why I would say would motivate a person to want to wake up, I would say.
Yeah, and your life won't be the same. It's like change is for me a big word when it comes to awakening, because all of a sudden you thought you were there and you were safe, and all of a sudden you're over there and doing something completely different, and you really transform as a person. At least I've experienced that I never knew I was going to do this and what I'm starting up now, and never would have believed that. But it's like things are just unraveling and happening to me in a way, and I'm just feeling this drive that just feels so right. But I don't think it had happened earlier if I hadn't let go of so much and started believing in myself as well. So I would say, I mean, it's a beautiful process and difficult, but also coming to that point where we're not afraid so much of your emotions, that you're observing them and you can see what's going on, but you're not resisting them. You're like accepting more of who you are. And that's just such a relief, because I feel like in society we are resisting so many things. We like this and not that, and I'm this and I'm not that. And then we do that with ourselves as well. I am not that. You know, I'm this. I want to be that kind of person. I want to be happy all the time, for instance. Like I feel like we talked a lot about I don't know, in the 90s or 80s when I was young, that the positive thinking. And then many people felt so bad because they had negative thoughts, you know? They felt so ashamed. I don't know if you come across that, but that's a fine line, because you have to raise your frequency in a way. But at the same time, you can't put things under the carpet.
Yeah. I feel like the awakening will inevitably bring people to a greater state of like acceptance. It's not that like you wake up and you become, I only have positive thoughts and only good things happen to me. It's just there's more of an acceptance that there's still darkness and light all over the place within every day, but there's just more of an acceptance of it, and therefore the experience of this duality is very different with the less resistance and insisting this is right, this is wrong, I like her, I don't like her. That is what causes all this. It puts out this chaotic, sort of disorganized energy, and then our life is like a reflection of that. Where the awakening doesn't take away the bad. In fact, it brings more of it. It brings more of an awareness of the light and the darkness. But then that leads to like an inevitable, I gotta just let go. I just accept it all, and then life gets easier and smoother, and things start flowing for you.
Yeah.
But it's tough. We're conditioned to cling. You know, so it's a bit of a time as we learn to yield and let go.
Yeah. And it's so interesting when you start looking at your environment around you, seeing it as, wow, that is a reflection of myself. It's a totally different new way of looking at things when bad things happen. Like, you know, what were I to learn about that? What is the metaphor of this happening? And I just had a teacher that said to me that everything that happens to us has a metaphor. Like everything. Would you agree on that?
That's how I see things. I can see where people would say, how do you prove that? That's nonsense. And maybe it is. But no, that's my perspective, because I know if I go through life like that, then I can take any negative circumstance and turn it into a positive. Because I know it's like a metaphor for something I can integrate within myself, or a modification I can make to myself and my life. And there's always, like, as Napoleon Hill would say, for every problem or setback, there's a seed of I forgot how he says it, but like a seed of an equivalent benefit inherent in each problem. And I live that way, and it allows me to benefit from meeting problems. And it's just it's one way to go through life, I suppose, and people could contradict that, I suppose, but I credit that mindset for a lot of my happiness and my success and all the things, the blessings I have in my life, I believe, are a result of that mindset sustained over time.
Yeah, it feels like a very empowered perspective for me, because you move out of victimhood in a way, like things are
Yes.
happening to me, like, oh, that's interesting that that happened again, for instance.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
patterns. So when it comes to, you know, patterns, what we attract, what is your perspective on the law of attraction, and when we want to manifest something, and then we're, in a way, we are longing for something, we want something to happen, so we're feeling this lack, and then what is my question? Well, okay, so in your perspective, how do we manifest? Because I think that's just so tricky. Because in one sense, I've heard that you have to focus your mind on it. You know, your thoughts create your reality. But at the same time, your unconsciousness have a lot in it, which you don't know what is. And when you want something, you're showing the universe that you lack something. And
Yeah. Yeah. As you said, it's kind of a complex one. Here, the way I look at it is like everything in our life is like a byproduct of the law of attraction. But most of us oscillate from consciousness to being somewhat unconscious, and therefore our life is a mixed bag of things we like and we don't like. Now, within that law of attraction, I think one can kind of take advantage of it by sort of consciously putting out the intent and energy that they want to attract. But as you said, most people do that. It's important to be very aware of your motive. Like if I'm having some stress and, oh, I want out, you know, it's from that desperation, I long, that's putting out sort of a negative signal. Rather, the way I do it is every morning I will visualize what I want. I'll visualize maybe a year down the line, and I'll see myself having this experience that I want, and I try to embody the emotions that I would associate with that future experience. So what I'm putting out there is like the vibration of what I want. It's not only about the thoughts of what you want, because the thoughts can be sort of fueled from, you know, just harmonic energy, and it's like what you put out energetically is what you get back. But when you align your thinking, your emotions with your intentions, that's where you can really manifest stuff pretty quickly, where you're like more of a conscious co-creator instead of like a leaf in the wind, just letting your unconsciousness just beat you up with life.
do you let go of it then after you kind of visualized it, or do you keep visualizing like every day that, you know, where you want to be?
Yeah, I will repeat that, but I will let go of the how. I don't insist it happens in the exact way I see. Like whatever I see in my visualization, I realize is my own best attempt at a pale representation of what like my higher self and my higher guidance could manifest. So I put out the best I can what I want, but I know that like my higher consciousness can help bring about the fruition in usually a much better way. So I don't insist it goes in the exact way I anticipate, but I use that sort of framework as putting it out there. But yeah, in a sense, that's my way of letting go of the how.
Right, because there are so many who have been speaking about that surrendering, you know, manifesting through surrendering. And I've come to that there's a bit of both. Like there is a bit of the
Yes.
intention and surrendering. That balance, that beautiful balance there. And life is about balance. So,
Yeah, a lot of people try to sum it up into is it this? Is it letting go or putting out? Well, like you
right.
said, it's a subtle dance and requires a lot of self-awareness of a lot of many elements. So it's like a thing we're all getting the hang of, I would say right now.
Right. So I see you have 1-1 a lot in your videos. Is that
Yeah.
number important to you, or it seems like
Yeah,
it's
well, it's I would say a few years after my Kundalini Awakening, I started seeing 1111 all the time. And of course, people see the number 1111, but it was I would see it so frequently, and it would almost like stop me in my, like a deer in headlights, would stop me in my tracks, where it's like, huh, like it was almost like the number was trying to tell me something, as weird as it sounds. And that was my introduction to what people call synchronicity, where now I see not like those sort of synchronistic patterns all over the place. It's kind of confirmation that I'm on the right path. And I found a lot of people who are going through this awakening, they start seeing the numbers. So I put 1111 in the beginning, at the end of all my videos, as a way of calling out to those people.
oh, that's beautiful.
I just want to call out to the people who I believe will resonate with my message. And 1111 is one way to kind of get their
Yeah.
attention, and also sway other people who will think that's nonsense, which that's fine too. But I want to attract people who are, again, will resonate with what I have to say.
Yeah, I watched a video with you and your friend Aaron. He seems like a very wise guy too. And oh, I lost my thought there. Yeah, I lost my track of thoughts. But another thought that I had was that back in, yeah, he said something about 2012, that he awakened or he had some experiences then. And I thought to myself, I did too. 2012, a lot of things happened then. And I started Wisdom from North as well. And what I saw was, it was very peculiar. I saw a Jaguar everywhere. Like it could be in magazines, it could be cars, it could be like the brand. It was just so strange. And I went to India, and all the in the bathrooms, like the brand was Jaguar. I saw it everywhere. And then prior to that, I think it was 2011, I saw 22 everywhere, 2222. And I just noticed, but then it stopped for me. So it seemed like that was like a changing time for me. And now I don't see it anymore. But it was very fascinating with that Jaguar.
Yeah.
But maybe it was like I think it had to do with some totem animal, and I read about it, and it had to do with transformation. So it just fit very perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like everyone. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people they'll reach out to me and say, "Well, I don't see 1111, but I see a Jaguar, or I see 22 or a 44." I feel like almost anything can get the job done. Like there's probably inherent meanings to an extent, but just my own experience of talking to people, it feels like everyone has their own little omens, their own little signs from the universe that just like God or the higher self knows that 1111 is going to get Victor's attention. You need a Jaguar. This person needs to see a school bus or whatever, but it has like the same sort of representation of transformation, change. It's okay. You're on track. Let go. Trust. That's usually what I would get when I would see those numbers. That kind of sense of like, okay, we're cool, Vic.
Right, and that's so important because I think the divine speaks to us very individually,
Yes.
and you'll have to understand your language in a way, not to feel like it's something wrong when you don't receive what teachers are talking about on YouTube, for instance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think there's a destiny? What is your experience with that? Do you think like we have a thread of destiny in a way? Because we talked about a bit about manifesting, so that is free will. But how, I often ask teachers this, how comes destiny into the whole picture in your perspective?
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where it's like, is it this or is it that? I feel like it's both. I feel like just my intuition tells me I can't validate it, but I feel like I kind of had a plan for myself as a soul. I'm going to come into this lifetime. There's this path I'm going to walk, and I will walk that path most likely. Simply not because I have to, but because that's what will feel the most natural for me. Because I set that up for myself. Now within that path, there's all this variability where I could drag my heels, or I could run, or I could take my time, and how I experience the path I came to walk, that's on me. That's where I learned my lessons and so forth. So my perspective is I feel like it's a bit of a both.
Yeah, I think that too. And do you believe everybody has like a specific purpose in their lives, like a very specific purpose? Like this is my theme, this is my topic, this is my thing.
No, and I think that the idea of seeking a purpose drives people insane. What's
Ah,
my purpose? Where is it? I got to find it. But I do feel like there's an ideal form of self-expression in some way, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's as a parent, you just like your artistic creation. And a lot of people, I feel like they have that ache to find their outlet that's going to really complete them. Whether some people call it a purpose, some people's outlet might be more easily categorized. Oh, that's his purpose. Well, someone else, it's the same fundamental energetic exchange that makes them feel whole and complete and gives them a sense of purpose, but it might not be so, it might be more dynamic and scattered. So I think a lot of people are looking for their purpose, but the way I see purpose is more of just like a sense of completion, a sense of where you're giving to the universe and you're receiving. It's like that give and take sort of energy. if that makes sense. That hopefully didn't sound too
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, no, but I just thought about that. I think we're also creating our purpose. We're giving life meaning ourselves. That's maybe the
Yeah.
what creation is like. That is our choice, actually. I do believe that there's a destiny line there somehow, but also I think we are discovering, in a way, our purpose. Uh, and what I've experienced, what I think is so beautiful, is that some of the people I've interviewed and come across, they have been going through very difficult times, and they quit their job or something, or just hit the wall or something awful happened, and then they discovered something new and they started this new education, and all of a sudden they started teaching. Like I have this woman that had so many fights in her home, like with her sons and the husband, and then she's like, this can't go on, and she was feeling really, or her son said to her that you're not, talking to us in a nice way, we want this to stop. And that was like this aha for her, and she became a gestalt therapist, and now she has this concept like peace work at home, and she has thousands of followers, and she's helping mothers like communicating more consciously with her children. And then I'm like, wow, her purpose in a way just manifested because she worked on herself, because she transformed. And I see that again and again, like beautiful things happening after people are transforming, because they're creating so brilliant things. It's like these intelligent things, and I feel like the intelligence are speaking through us in such a profound way when we have changed and transformed.
Yeah, yeah, that's what's beautiful about what I do. I work with people going through this process, and that seems to be like what most people eventually will come to experience is like, yeah, there's like the breakdown of their life, the dawning of awareness that I'm not happy in this relationship or job or situation, and that's uncomfortable. That's like the stress we were talking about. But from that is like the emergence of that new, fresh purpose, expression, that new life that can kind of blossom out of that. It's a glorious thing to witness. Something I went through, same exact sort of like archetypal pattern of, just as you described it, that woman's a perfect analogy. But yeah, that seems to be what's happening a lot right now, which is just so cool. It's so neat.
Yeah, because it's coming through you, and the more you try out different things, the more you expand and you will learn. And we're just so used to thinking that everything should come from here. That I should just think hard enough and it will come. But it's like through this experience, through the body and the process, that something will mature. And I just made a video. I'm going to release it soon, about what I'm creating. But for 5 years, I've been doing Wisdom from North, and I wanted a change, and I wanted this clarity that I had in 2012 when I started with this, but it just didn't come, and I was just so annoyed that it didn't come. I was like, can I just get this clarity? But then it came. But that was after I had worked on myself a while. I really went down into some new shadows of myself, and let go of that. And then I started to become clear on what do I really want to do with these interviews? Why am I actually doing it? I knew it intellectually in a way, but I didn't quite know it in my heart. So I went deeper and deeper into that. And all of a sudden I was online and I saw something, and that sparked the idea. And it was just like I knew what I was going to do. And I just love those moments. And I've been waiting for it for so long, and it came in the right time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and that's just so magical. And I'm saying it because I've been lacking in trust of the universe a lot in this journey. But I think when the time is right, things will come to you. What about you? Do you trust? Like, do you feel like you have the trust in the universe all the time, or do you lack that sometimes? Do you fall out of trust sometimes?
I trust way more now than I used to, simply because it sort of proved itself to me. I chose to kind of have faith and walk this awakening path of just, making big decisions based upon my intuition. And for earlier on, it was very stressful because you don't really know how things will turn out. But just over and over again, I was just shown that when you trust and you follow suit, things just work out. They come to you, as you said, at the right time. So now, as I've been doing that for quite a while, I have a much higher level of trust. Yes, not 100%, but pretty close. I feel very trusting of my intuition, and when I act upon that, it always leads to good things. And so yeah, I've developed trust over the years, most certainly.
So you're making a video every day. How do you manage that? That's amazing.
I don't actually. I think on my YouTube channel it says daily videos. I used to make daily videos. Now, I almost corrected you, but there was no real clean way to jump in. But now I do twice a week. But in the past, it was hard. I had to kind of grind. I felt like that was what I needed to do to kind of like build up my presence, my online business, and support my family. And how did I do it? Just with like will, because as you probably know as a creator, sometimes things just flow and it's easy. But other times there were days I'd wake up and not be in the mood to make a video and really had to dig deep. It was very challenging. That's why I prefer the way I do it now. It's much more, whenever I put up a video, it's always because I really want to. Something wants to kind of come through instead of adhering to a plan I set out for myself mentally. But it was difficult. But it came with its own benefits and kind of forcing myself to do it. It had its place and time for me.
So just to talk a little bit about your career or your channel, because it has kind of exploded, because I watched you a few years ago and then you didn't have that many subscribers and all of a sudden it was huge. So how are you handling all of a sudden being such a public person? And the reason I'm asking is that I just had a negative experience with someone who was following me, who was contacting me again and again and won't let go. And another friend of mine, she's just completely overwhelmed now. It all of a sudden just exploded. And she's like, feeling I have to set up boundaries now. That's new. So how have you like dealt with the sudden fame in a sense?
Yeah, it takes a concerted, disciplined effort to remain very detached. I have like an online assistant. I do my best to just focus on my creations and sort of like tune out of the feedback, both good and bad. It's sort of a temptation. Oh, you're so amazing, Victor. Thank you so much. Wow, I love you. It's like, it's a high. But also when I would get attached to that, then you set yourself up for the low and the negativity. So I try to just create for the fun of expression and detach as best I can from the outcome. But I don't do that perfectly. I've gotten better over the years because I've been kind of forced to with all the emails and people reaching out. So yeah, it's something I really had to make it a priority to just stay as detached as possible. But there were periods of like expansion where I would be caught off guard by all the attention and temporarily be kind of swallowed up in some way and thrown off balance. But that always led me to kind of setting boundaries with myself, with other people. And over time, I've become much more accepting of it. But I don't personally like it, honestly. I want to move into the direction of becoming a writer. I don't like attention. I just like to shoot the videos, but I don't like attention. I'm not really one of those people wanting fame or anything like that. I just want to help. I want to do my thing, and I want to chill with my family. So I'm going to probably evolve into becoming more of a writer. I'll still do YouTube, but I don't want to keep going in this sort of like in alignment, sort of in this direction personally.
Right. I was going to ask you that. What are your dreams? What do you want to create? What is there for you that you see?
Yeah. Just recently, I've been told by people I'm going to write a book. Psychics have said, you're going to write a book. And I was like, no, maybe one day.
I think you are. Yeah.
I know I am. Yeah, I had this experience the other day when I was working out where I just kind of like knew, almost like a book wants to come through, as weird as that sounds. Like it's time to write a book for me. And I also think that's going to bring about a certain type of balance that I really want in my life, which is more of like, I want to wake up and write, shoot a video, and then hang out with the family and not be so like caught up the way I kind of am now with all the different stuff going on. I have so many projects going on. I want to kind of simplify my life. But yeah, my dream is to just live a really great life. Just be happy and have a good family life, raise good children, and just continue to. I'm already kind of living my dream. It's already kind of come true. It's just going to be kind of changing and transforming as I age and things become irrelevant and I move on to new things. So I know that was sort of jumbled. I apologize.
No,
it's hard to kind of confine what
beautiful.
my dream is, but I feel like I'm living the dream right now. I feel very blessed, and I've worked hard to get here, but I can see it sort of changing forms in the near future. Is what I was sort of saying.
Beautiful. All right, Victor, thank you so much for your time, and I'm excited to see your new videos coming. So thank you so much. I know you're very busy. It was awesome connecting with you.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. And I encourage you just to keep doing what you're doing. I feel like you're living your purpose now with what you're doing with these interviews. You really you have a lot of light you spread when you conduct these interviews. You really seem like you're in your element, and it was very nice and an honor to be on here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching, guys. And remember to subscribe to both our channels. All right, much light from the US and Norway. Bye-bye.